Joe? What are you doing?
Silence! I am painting!
Why?
The spirit has moved me.
What are you even painting?
You'll see. Behold, my masterpiece.
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. Now as a Rothschild, I'm sure you're aware I have access to the Illuminati weather machine responsible for controlling the world's clouds and chemtrails, but today I'll be putting it to good use. That's right, we're checking out a fan-favorite deck that's finally halfway playable, Weather Painters. So here's the list, and boy is it pretty. As always, I'll give you a little bit of background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and as always, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, Weathery is an archetype of cards that are unique in that they actually do something interesting, instead of most of the format's smear of samey advantage grinding effects. The Weatheries all have the ability to return from the banished zone in the standby phase, provided they ended up there as the result of their own effect. Now there's only one issue. None of them actually have effects that banish for cost. Instead, they have a swath of on-theme spells and traps called canvases, which give adjacent Weatheries extra abilities, some to search cards, some to special summon monsters, and some to win combat. They've previously had the ability to plus into infinity, but removing themselves from the field in order to do so meant you were incredibly open to OTKs, and without a way to span the board, you were often stuck with normal summoning one a turn and hoping for the best. Enter a new piece of support in DANE, the Weathery Rainbow Canvas. This card allows you to, provided your opponent controls a monster, activate an adjacent Weathery's effect to special summon a Weathery monster from your deck. It is only once per turn, but it facilitates unreal turn 1 setups, which snowball... Get it? Into turn 2 advantage leads. 3 blockers is miles better than 1. Turn 1, you're aiming to use Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen to special summon a Thundery Painter, then tag Valhalla out for Snowy Canvas, search Snowy Painter, search Rainbow Canvas, special summon another Weathery or search Thundery Canvas, set up for an amazing combat step, and win the game. Additional pieces raise the ceiling on this deck tremendously, and win conditions like Boral Sword Dragon and Phantom Skyblaster alongside Pankratops ensure we can actually turn our usually empty advantage into victories. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First, we're on 3 copies of Dino Wrestler Pankratops and 3 Phantom Skyblaster, 2 cards that immensely benefit decks that can manipulate the amount of monsters they control. After that is 3 Hecatrice, which makes our turn 1 setups obscene, 3 Thundery Painter, who can swap canvases, 3 Snowy Painter, who finds a canvas, and our one-ups. Aura, who protects canvases, Sleet, who reborns canvases, Rain, who can play canvases from the hand, and Sun, who can reborn himself by popping a canvas. After that are 3 Ash Blossom. For spells, we're on 3 copies of Extravagance, and get used to hearing that, 3 Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen, 3 Snowy, which searches a Weathery, and 1 Rainy, which returns a set, spell, or trap to the hand. That spell is completely nasty in conjunction with 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance, followed by 2 Thundery Canvas, which returns monsters you battle with to the hand, 2 Rainbow Canvas, which special summons a Weathery, and Skilled Rain. The extra is a little bit wonky since it's got to account for Extravagance. We're on Breaksword and Gossip, followed by Bomber Dragon, Borreload, Boral Sword, Rainbow Painter, Nightmare's Unicorn, Phoenix, and Cerberus, Wee Witch, Space Insulator, and 3 Link Spider. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Gravekeeper. Gravekeeper is a stun deck that does best when Necro Valley is on their side of the field, so we are going to do everything we can to prevent it from sticking. Although we're going second, our opener is insane. We have both interaction for our opponent's turn 1 play, as well as our bread and butter combo. Our opponent's going to start by activating Throne of Necro Valley to get a copy of Gravekeeper's Commandant to their hand. We'll respond to the Commandant effect with an Ash Blossom. They'll then normal summon a copy of Gravekeeper's Cleric, use its effect to special summon this Gravekeeper's Commandant they just discarded, set a copy of Strike, and pass it back to us. We're going to start our turn with a Pot of Extravagance, and it's just Pot of Greed. We're then going to activate Hecatrice to get a copy of Valhalla to our hand. We'll activate its effect to get a copy of Thundery Painter, activate Thundery Painter's effect, and there's the Strike. Thankfully, we have not yet used our normal summon, so we'll use it on Snowy Painter, getting a copy of Rainbow Canvas. We'll then activate the Snowy Canvas effect of Thundery Painter to get a copy of Thundery Canvas, set it, and pass it back to our opponent. In standby phase, we're bringing back all of our painters and wishing our opponent good luck. They special summon an Eater of Millions, but I know my Seagok, and I can go ahead and return that to the hand before it's able to banish my Snowy Painter face down. They're then going to pass it back to us after we search a copy of Rainy to our hand. We're going to draw for turn and special summon 2 of our painters back. They have a strike for 1 of them, but as long as we can establish any sort of resource loop with any painter, we should be able to win the game. We're going to special summon a copy of Aura, then use her effect to normal summon a copy of Sleet. We'll go to battle phase, attacking over the cleric, then pass it back to our opponent. When we start special summoning back monsters in standby phase, they'll concede. Our second match is up against Mermail, which will really test this deck's ability to not get OTK'd. We're going first, of course, so we'll start by activating Pot of Extravagance. We'll banish 6 cards from our extra deck, including both Borals, find ourselves a Hecatrice, and activate its effect to get a copy of Valhalla, special summon this copy of Thundery Painter from our hand, use its effect to get a Snowy Canvas, tag out for a copy of Snowy Painter, use Snowy Painter's effect for a Rainbow Canvas, set 2 cards, and pass it back to our opponent. In standby, we'll bring back the Thundery Painter, and then our opponent will normal summon a Nimble Beaver, go into an Angler, and go into a Phoenix. They will hit shoot our Thundery Canvas. We'll tag out to get one of our protectors, but oh, they are actually both in our hand, so they will get to destroy it. Afterwards, they'll make it Abystius and go to combat. Now, we can prevent one of our Thundery Painter's imminent deaths, but we'll take a little bit of damage in doing so. We add a Rainy to our hand, and then in main phase 2, they go into a copy of Unicorn, shuffle back our last remaining unknown card, and discard 2 cards out of our 3-card hand with Manama Glacia. Things aren't looking good, but of course looks can be deceiving. We'll special back both copies of our painters, and then tag out our Snowy Painter for a second copy of Snowy Painter, normal summon it to get the Thundery Canvas that they just shuffled, and start returning all of our opponent's monsters to the hand. Now, I don't really want to put Manama Glacia back in the hand, but technically it is removed from the field. We'll bring back all the painters we can at the standby phase, including 2 Snowies. They'll activate Manama Glacia's effect again, then normal summon a copy of Undyne and pass it back to us. From here, we should be able to win the game, provided we draw something that does anything, and what do you know, there's Sky Blaster. We'll normal summon it, get a couple of tokens to our side of the board, and while we don't have any of our copies of Boral left, we can still make Topologic Bomber Dragon, who does attack for 3,000 points of damage. We'll attack over this copy of Manama Glacia, over this Undyne, and pass it back to our opponent. They draw another Undyne for turn, and concede. Alright, so it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent is on Thunder Dragon, a deck that I am already sick of. More importantly, they're on the Brilliant Fusion Danger build of the deck. It's much more explosive, and they're going first. The first thing we're going to do is set this copy of Brilliant Fusion, then activate Danger Mothman. We do miss, so they get to draw 1 for 1, and even though they discard Destrudo, I can't pass up the ability to 2 for 1. It turns out I should have, because of course the set card is Brilliant Fusion. They'll use the Grave effect of Destrudo to go into a Reproducus, go into a Summon Sorceress off of these 2, then normal summon a copy of Gemknight Amber, getting a copy of Roar from deck. They're then going to activate the Grave effect of Snow before linking into Skulldet. Roar's Grave effect will trigger along with Skulldet's, adding 1 card to their hand, special summoning a copy of Dark from deck, and then activating the Hawk effect to get Roar from graveyard. Things aren't looking good as Superbolt 1 makes it onto the field, and as they add Thunder Dragon Fusion to hand, I realize this is going to be a hard board to beat. They pass it back to us, but I need that ad revenue, so we are going to play it out. The first thing we're going to do is normal summon this copy of Snowy Painter to get a Rainbow Canvas. We'll then go into Aura and pass it back to our opponent. Our opponent's going to draw for turn. It's a copy of Origin. We're going to use Snowy Painter's effect to special summon itself back. They'll activate the effect of Thunder Dragon, and we are trying to prevent the Titan pop here, so we'll chain to almost everything they are doing. We are able to do so, getting a Thundery Painter to our side of the board, but finally, they will be able to resolve the effect of Titan, though our back row is protected by the effect of Aura. They'll then flip Aura down and go to battle phase, attacking into our copy of Thundery Painter. We are able to return it to the hand, but we're taking a huge amount of damage here. Thankfully, it is not lethal, and we might be able to win here. The first thing we're going to do is bring back Snowy Painter, followed by bringing back Thundery Painter. In main phase 1, we're going to activate Pot of Extravagance and draw into, 2 pretty good cards. We'll go into battle phase and, wow, bounce all of these really powerful monsters back to the hand. From this position, we might be able to win this, and after we're able to activate Valhalla's effect to special summon a copy of Thundery Painter for our hand and tag out into a copy of Snowy Canvas to get a Snowy Painter to our hand, set to Floodgates and pass, things are looking pretty good. We'll bring back as many people as we can. Our opponent draws into a Destrudo, which unfortunately is quite good for them. They're first going to normal summon a copy of Snow. We will chain the target to add a copy of Thundery Painter to our hand. They'll activate Destrudo's effect in hand before going into Yikes Yazi, but we do have exactly enough life points to activate Skill Drain and live, and they will concede once this sucker is returned to the hand. Alright, so it's time for game 2. Hopefully it goes the same as game 1. Our opponent's opener isn't particularly good. They're going to start by activating Thunder Dragon's effect, getting their last one from their deck, then activate Nessie's effect. We do whiff, so it is special summon on their side of the board. They normal summon a copy of Mathematician, but we will ash that 100 times out of 100. They'll activate Danger Chupacabra, but American Sniper! We hit it! We're going to activate Pot of Extravagance, and what do we find? But, no play starters. We will go ahead and get ourselves a copy of Valhalla Hall of the Fallen, special summon a copy of Sunny, use Snowy Canvas's effect to get a Thundery Painter, use Thundery Painter's effect to tag tag out for a rainy because we have the remaining canvases in our grip, attack into Nessie like it's 2014, and pass it back to our opponent. They draw into a danger, which is bad news for us. They'll activate the effect, and not only do we whiff on Glow Up Bulb. That allows them to go into Yazi, and what are they? Blind hit, but oh! The Thundery Canvas. Okay, well, we're not going to be able to chain out to get a protector here, so they are going to get a Mare Mare. That Mare Mare is, of course, going to make as many tokens as possible before going into a Linkaribo, a copy of Nightmare Phoenix, destroying our Snowy Canvas, a Gold Sarcophagus off of the top, into a Roar, into a Matrix, into a Tribute Summoned, Dragon Dark, into a Skuldet. And this is the thing with the Danger Brilliant Fusion variant of Thunder Dragon. You just can't give them an inch. I mean, look how much they're able to extend from this position. They're going to use Skuldet's effect to chain block anything I would possibly do, then go into a Reproducus, use Reproducus's effect to change it to a dinosaur, go into Summon Sorceress, use literally every single Thunder Dragon effect in one turn, and end on just an incredible board of Curious, sending a copy of Snow, sending 3 additional cards, using Snow's effect, then using Snow's effect to flip down my remaining Weathery so that I can't do any sort of trick to get it out. They're going to pass back to us with this formidable board, but we should be able to bring it back. We're first going to bring back Thundery Painter, then we're going to activate the Grave effect of Sunny, normal summon a copy of Sleet, and start banishing their monsters. Unfortunately, this does trigger Curious's effect, and they are able to add Gold Sark back to their hand. We're tagging out our Sun for a copy of Aurora, and then passing it back to our opponent after setting Snowy Canvas. They draw for turn, and what do they find but Hawk? Unfortunately, with that Gold Sark in hand, they're going to be able to extend far past our existing board, which is pretty scary. They're going to activate Gold Sark, banishing a copy of Dark. They're then going to activate Hawk to get this Matrix back on board to go into a Super Bolt. Afterwards, they're going to go into a Titan, and now we have to try chain blocking. We're first going to activate the effect of Sun. That is, of course, the effect of Rainbow Canvas. They'll activate the effect of Snow. We will chain the effect of Aura. This is the effect of Snowy Canvas to add a copy of Snow to our hand. And now, of course, they are free to go into Nightmare Unicorn to spin our copy of Thundery Canvas once again. Just so important in this matchup. Thankfully, they aren't able to remove all of our monsters, nor are they able to prevent the standby phase special summoning of 2 of them. We will normal summon a Snowy Painter to get our copy of Thundery Canvas from deck and go into battle phase. From here, it looks like we are winning the game. We're able to return all of their monsters to their hand and then attack for 2200 before ending our turn. For turn, our opponent is going to draw Destrudo, but they do get the Roar to hand because it's been 2 turns since they activated Gold Sark. You know, that card actually does have text on it. They'll start shuffling their Thunder Dragons and knock down this copy of Aura, but of course we can tag out for a remaining copy of Snowy Painter from our deck. They're going to use Destrudo's effect to go into Super Bolt, use this effect to go into Nightmare Unicorn, again discarding the fusion they added off of Dark to defeat our copy of Thundery Canvas for the 8th time, but without the ability to chew through all of our massive amount of monsters. We're just going to be able to spin their entire board next turn, and we will do just that. In standby phase, we're bringing back both Aura and Snowy Painter. We'll normal summon a copy of Thundery Painter, tag out our continuous spells and traps, and start banishing. Finally, we have won this game. So, we're back with the deck, and boy, oh boy, do I love walking away with long ones. Clearly, Thunder Dragon is a good matchup, but I still think we can take some analysis away from it. First, the pros. 1, the deck's not bad. And I don't mean like not bad the way I usually mean not bad. It can't steal games against Amorphage Pendulums on a good day. This one might actually be playable. We had the entire setup by about the 2nd turn in almost every single game. 2, it's wildly consistent, and the pieces are interchangeable. Like, consistency is cool, but it's even better when you're able to use every single card in your hand and not just find the same 2-card combo. The rest of your hand isn't unsummonable Goki or extra Candina, it's canvases you're going to be setting immediately. And 3, it's got a natural resistance to hand traps. If you've got a canvas already, good luck in permanencing the Weathery. If you're activating Snowy's effect, Ash isn't going to stop it. And the only other one people play is Bell, which does next to nothing since you're banishing for cost. And the cons. 1, you still lack a win condition. Skyblaster and Pankratops are good, and I wouldn't cut them, but they're often not enough. You can only look at a board of Snow Painters and sigh so many times before you question the efficacy of your build. 2, it's mentally taxing. The games are long, and they test skills that other decks don't. Proper canvas placement, setting multiples, etc. You'll have to develop those skills and integrate them into your play if you want to be successful. That's something that's pretty hard the 9th round of a regional. And 3, it's hard to bluff anything. Unlike control decks which operate with the element of surprise, all your cards are face up on the table. Your opponent can just read them and play accordingly. All in all, it's an extremely powerful deck, and if by the time Dane rolls around decks are considerably weaker, I could honestly see it being a power player. If you commit to playing it now, I'll even let you have a go with the Weather Machine. So that's that. I hope you all enjoyed watching me stumble over an archetype that names its canvases the same as its painters. Glad I can erase those outtakes. If you want to see me play the decks I make on this show on stream, I'm on twitch.tv/mbtygo every Monday from 7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, and if you have an idea for a certain deck or archetype you want to see me play on a future episode of this show, let me know in the comments section below and I'll do my best. Otherwise, I'll see you Friday.